this is Sam from Bramble Patch Crafts, and today I'll be showing you how to stitch a traditional ladder stitch. This is definitely one of the first techniques you'll want to learn because it's used as a foundation to go on and create other stitches such as herringbone and brick stitch. It's very unlikely you'll use this to create a full piece of beadwork because it can be very wobbly. You'll see a bit more of what I mean as we get further into the video. So to start, you'll need your thread. Today I'm using the £4 fire line in the colour Smoke. The reason I'm using this today is because, as you can see, it's slightly darker in colour, so it'll be easier to follow as I'm stitching. If I'm creating a normal piece of beadwork, I would use the fire line in the crystal. You can see it's a lot lighter in colour, so it doesn't show up quite as much in your beadwork, which is always good. Unless you want that contrasting stitch, you'd use the Smoke. Secondly, you're going to need your beads. Today I'm using size 6s because they're that little bit bigger, so you'll be able to see them a bit better. You can use pretty much any size bead when doing ladder stitch, so size 6s, 8s, 11s or 15s will be fine. Secondly, you're going to need your beading needle. I'm using a size 10 today because I'm using slightly bigger beads, so you can use 12 as well, but a size 12 beading needle is a little bit thinner, so it's always handy to use that when you're using the smaller beads like the 11s and the 15s. It's just that little bit thinner to get through those beads a little bit easier. So okay, let's start. Just move my beads out of the way a bit more there. If you can hear any noises in the background, I'm with my little girl today. I've put on Peppa Pig for her, so that's what you can hear. Okay, so to begin with, you need to pick up 2 beads, like so, and bring those down to the end of your thread. Like that. It's going a little bit fuzzy there. You can put on a stopper bead at the end of your thread there. It's just a bead that you thread through, and it just stops these beads from coming off the end of the thread. I won't be doing that today. I'll just keep hold of the thread with my thumb and stop them from slipping off that way. Some people do like to put a stopper bead on though, so it's entirely optional. Next, you're going to want to thread your bead up through the first bead you strung. So that's going to be the bead that's closest to my thumb and closest to the end of your tail. So go ahead and do that. Okay. And pull. So you'll see as you do that, your beads will just drop together there, so they're sitting side by side. Sorry, focus has gone a little bit on there. There we go, that's better. Yeah, your beads have just dropped side by side there. That's how you want them to sit all the way along. So they'll just be touching sides as you add your beads on. To secure that, you want to go back down through that second bead you strung. So you've gone up through the first bead, you're going to go down through the second bead. So go ahead and do that. There we go. Okay, so now you're ready to string on your next bead. So just pick up your third bead there, and because your tail's coming, your thread's coming out of the bottom of that second bead, you're going to want to go back through the top. So do that. Okay, so your third bead should just sit next to your second bead there. There we go. Now to secure that, you want to go back up through that third bead you strung. Okay. So do another one. We'll pick up your fourth bead. So your thread's coming out the top of that third bead. You're going to want to go up through the bottom of that third bead. You just need to help them along a bit to position them next to each other. There we go. And now go back down through that last bead you strung. Okay. You've got 4 beads on there. You're almost doing a loop-de-loop sort of pattern. So you're picking a bead up, going down and round. As you can see, I mentioned earlier, it's very wobbly, so you couldn't really use that as a stitch for an entire piece of beadwork. It wouldn't be very stable unless you went through it quite a few times with your thread. But you're always better to use it as a foundation. So I'll pick up a few more beads just to go over that again for you. Okay, so we'll pick up a 5th bead. And your thread's coming out your bottom, so you need to go through the top of that bead. Okay, oops. And then go back up through the last bead you strung. We'll do one more. Pick up another bead, go up through the bottom and back down the last bead you strung. Okay. You can kind of see why it's called a ladder stitch by the way the thread and the beads, the stitch almost looks like the rungs of a ladder, and even more so if you're stitching with 2 rows. But that'll be one I'll show you when I do the modern ladder stitch tutorial. So that's pretty much your traditional ladder stitch. And with this you'll be ready to move on and create, for example, a brick or a herringbone stitch. So that's that. Thank you for watching, and be sure to check out our other tutorials. Thanks a lot. See you next time.